All right, let's do a quick little sound check. See if you guys can hear me. I think Christmas is biased. Where's the palm trees with Christmas lights? That wasn't an option. Didn't have that option. I had 30 things, but I did not have that particular option. Thank you, Josh. There it is, Ryan, playing the system. All right, so big day today. We had some FOMC information. We had a lot of stuff bouncing all over the place. And that leads us right into tomorrow, which is the UK election, which is actually turning out to be a little interesting, I guess. I guess originally it was supposed to be a runaway, and now they're mentioning that we could have a hung Congress or whatever it's called, a hung parliament. And yeah, not always the most fun thing in the world. Hit scan on that one. All right, so looking at the day overall, of course. All right. Still dealing with this dust thing. See, it's like my body telling me that I shouldn't clean dust. But I actually got out today. I actually went to jiu-jitsu, and I actually didn't die. My ankle is quite sore, I will say that. But it felt good to get back on the mats today for the first time in about a month and a half. So thankfully, it was a small class, and it was guys that I'm used to rolling with. But I survived. I'm happy about that. But like I said, definitely a little sore. Even with the ankle brace on, it wasn't perfect, but healing, good. All right, so looking at the charts today, looking at the movement that we had, wasn't a horrible day. Sometimes with FOMC days, there's just kind of blah. We don't really see a whole lot. It just doesn't do a whole lot, right? There's some anticipation, nothing happens, everything was factored in, and just flat. But with obviously with CPI this morning at 8:30, that actually gave us some good movement, right? The 0.3 over the 0.2, not bad. Obviously, crude oil kind of made it a little bit funky there as well, which again kind of did exactly what we thought it did and actually retraced all the way back up again, which is nice. Again, reason why we want to take those things off a little bit early. And then FOMC at the end of the day. So FOMC was interesting. One of the things that I want to mention about FOMC is they kind of set the precedence, or basically kind of gave us a little bit of a hinting that it looks like they're going to be holding rates steady and kind of I would say kind of hinting that they want to keep them steady for all of 2020. Again, no cuts, no raises, no nothing, just kind of keep them steady, which is kind of interesting because I would say we were in a low rate environment right now, and what makes it interesting is they've been talking about, oh, we got to raise it, got to stem inflation. I don't know, they don't seem like they're that concerned about inflation at this point anymore. So kind of interesting. So we will see where we go with that one. But anyway, again, oil obviously was a miss. Let me bring that up so you guys can see it. Here is our oil chart from last night, if you guys remember this one, right? When we set it up, we said we were in this area. Nice thing about this one is this one pretty much did like kind of a textbook type move. What did it do? It rallied right up, right up, right up, right up, right before the news. And then once the news came out at 10:30, boom, straight down, right? That's what we love to see. So these are the two profit targets we had picked. And again, here we are right now at the 02 mark. And when we go back, here is where we were last night at chart school. Okay, so it's always nice when price goes higher. It gives us a better entry. Again, we were looking for some type of a burst of the downside. And when price was here over at basically where we are, kind of right below, right above where we are right now, this 58.90-ish area, right, is where we kind of were last night. Again, prices made sense here and here. Obviously, when price went up here 20 cents, that opened up a couple more strikes, and these actually would have been moved a bit higher. So you can see this one, as it is, almost hit, even though we started from all the way up top. So again, first analysis, still great, still nice, and again, nice movement on those two. So, yeah, hopefully you guys all made money on that one. Again, being in that area, I was definitely more bearish minded on that one. And again, with the rally up, that was kind of a no-brainer to be able to get into that one. Again, would not have necessarily wanted to take that in futures because again, that's a pretty violent kind of drop to the downside. And if you got in a little bit late, it retraced on you and you lost money on that one. That's why Nadex is nice for some reason. If you were wrong on that one, if you were for some reason going long, whatever you bought into that is what you lost at the most point, at the worst. But you should have been playing that one to the downside again, particularly with the rally up overnight before that news release. Oh, you can't see it. That's right. Sorry, I didn't switch over yet because I haven't fully gone for it. There you go. Thank you, Sean. I forgot. Yeah, you guys can't see everything that's on that screen because that that scene is actually on the top monitor and the scanner, which are on two different monitors. And then I forgot that the charts are on this one over here. So this was the setup that we had drawn last night. Okay. And again, just as a fast recap, again, watching price come up. Here's where news came out, and then boom, collapse all the way down again. Here's where price was last night. So again, we had priced options here and here. When it rallied up, these would have come up with it as well. And again, obviously both of them would have got blasted on that one with almost no problem. So again, easy trade to take advantage of. Nadex was the way to go, and again, that's why we trade multiple asset classes. It should have been a winner for everybody. So hopefully you got it. If you guys are watching the channel and you guys are new here and you're not afraid to speak up or not sure what we're talking about necessarily, we trade a couple different things in here. Obviously spot currencies, but then also Nadex binary options. This is a binary options trade we set last night to keep very low risk in obviously a volatile time with oil inventory reports. If you don't have a Nadex account or you're new to it or you're thinking about this is kind of interesting, I wonder how well they did on it. Go ahead and click the demo account button below. I got that kind of installed, so it's easy to click that and actually get a demo account set up. So yeah, so again, this is another one of those oil trades that worked out great. I know I saw a couple people. James, I think, said he was done trading for the week. Always love to hear that. Again, when it's Wednesday and you're done, 3-day work week is not a bad thing to have on a regular basis. All right, so good there. All right, going back over to kind of where we're going into tomorrow. All right, so on Thursday. All right, tomorrow we have some monetary policy from the Swiss, which is kind of interesting because we don't really see too much. There's not expected to be any type of rate cut, but again, any type of policy assessment, there could be some comments or quotes about easing, tightening, good, bad, recession. All those things are good things that could definitely, again, give us some movement. And we don't really see it too often in the Swiss, so it's nice to be able to get some of that in there. Obviously, the parliamentary elections. Now, I guess, I don't think we're going to really hear much until tomorrow night. I was looking at something that it was talking about this. So I think it's tomorrow night at, I think 11 o'clock their time or 10 o'clock their time. So right around 6 p.m. our time is when the results will start coming in. But none of the questionable areas really come in until much later than that. So yeah, it sounds like I actually read an article on it today that talks about, how the pound election works and how it's different than ours and, what they have to do. And it's definitely kind of different. So yeah, kind of looked interesting, but unfortunately with a lot of news today, and again, you really can't trust it because remember, Brexit wasn't supposed to happen, and all that kind of stuff. And, hey, I think that, I always thought it would be close. I didn't think it was going to be a blowout like kind of the original news had talked about. But I always assumed that there was the risk that it could be another hung kind of parliament where there would really be no minority whatsoever. Unfortunately, Johnson, I think he's burned too many bridges that May used to get that. I'm wondering if they just don't get the majority and then he ends up losing totally, which I don't know if you guys have been watching it at all, but basically the policy statements is he said he would get it done within 60 days. And Coburn said that he would get Brexit done. A soft Brexit would happen in 6 months. And that's not what people wanted to hear. People wanted it much faster than that. So yeah, it should be interesting. And again, we'll see how the exit polls are going. Typically, I guess what they were saying too, the article I read, that the exit polls are typically pretty accurate for them, based off of what they've done in the past. So tomorrow night we'll get a little bit more of a kind of a take on that one. But I would definitely be cautious because you never know what could happen tomorrow with news in anything pound related. I'm not going to probably put anything. I don't know. I'll have to look at it, but I'm probably going to be very tentative to put too much on, at least in the spot currency realm, because like I said, if for some reason we start seeing something and there's an exit poll that's, having one side being blown out or, that it's definitely going to be a hung, then yeah, the pound's going to move. So we need to be a bit careful. Yeah, tomorrow evening is when we'll start getting the right. So that's going to be big. Obviously, the main financing rate and the monetary policy statement, they're all coming in for the euro as well. So you got a couple things at the ECB press conference. I'm sure they're going to mention Brexit in this somewhere. But, like I said, I'm not expecting any type of rate change whatsoever on that one. We'll see what the policy statement says. Maybe they think it's so good now. Maybe they'll even mention some type of, maybe raising rates in 2020. which would also cause that one to kind of move a bit. But we'll see. Then we have core PPI and then regular PPI. Again, that will give us a little bit of movement, especially if there's nothing else moving in the morning. As I said, I think the European markets, besides the Swiss, may be a little bit gridlocked tomorrow, waiting to hear the results of the pound, or I guess the UK election. Um, I know that the pound probably won't be moving too much because everybody will be kind of waiting to hear some type of news. So again, maybe a little bit shy. And then obviously we have VOC speaking tomorrow at 12:30. That could be a little bit interesting too. I know earlier today before FOMC, I heard that in one of the articles I was reading was talking about how they expected to see dollar strength and CAD weakness, because CAD weakness is talking about trade war and a couple other things. And I was kind of surprised that they were beating up on the CAD that much. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what what the speech actually entails tomorrow. I was really not going to pay too much attention to it, but after that article today, I was like, huh. I'm like, they are kind of harping on this a lot. I wonder if, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, with the cat and I didn't think the situation looked super bad up there, but they're making it seem like it's a much worse situation than it actually is. So I don't know. We'll see. So I will be paying attention to that one to see what I can glean from that. And again, news-wise, you guys can see right here. Yeah, the Fed disappoints bulls. You guys can see that one right there. There's not a color next to it, but it could definitely be on the high side. And then again, you should be reading all these again, even if you're not really sure about how to read the FOMC statement. Definitely read any type of article you see on it. It's always interesting to hear it. The economic projections as well is kind of important. Inflation weaker over years. Again, this week inflation. So here's the thing about inflation. The only reason we raise rates is to curb inflation. If inflation is not there and it's kind of weakening, there's really no reason why to raise rates again. Okay, it's inflation that we're trying to stem off. That's why we're trying to do it. Okay, and this whole thing about if we do the UMMCA or the USMCA, it would remove uncertainty. It's like of course it would. So if we completed the Chinese trade war as well, that would remove a lot of uncertainty as well. So I love when they speak the obvious. It's just kind of funny. You see this? They want to see significant rise in inflation before raising rates, basically saying that until we get inflation, it's not happening. So that's kind of a big deal. All right. So that's what we have going into tomorrow. Let's go across, and now we will pull the charts back up again. All right. So obviously in the Aussie, this one had quite a pop up in the air. We mentioned last night, again, we had a bit of an area. You guys can see that this is where this area kind of started. This is where current price actually is. We'd had this box up here that we'd mentioned. I guess I can kind of, I'm not gonna move the bottom here. I'll just put a line so you guys can cherry picking this one. There. Okay, you guys can see how close we are to it. All right. There you go. So that's kind of where we're looking. We're pretty close. It really depends on what we do next, right? If we start to turn and flip, again, there is a bit of an area that you can look at right here. I am expecting some type of a retracement. It's just where that retracement's coming in at. So here's the potential for one, although it looks like it does want to rally a little bit higher. Hasn't given us those wicks. Hasn't really given us the true view that it's going to turn and flip right here. And again, I'd like it to go a little bit higher and then to be a little bit more comfortable selling it in this area based off of what the wicks are. But looking back, you guys can see we're messing with the wicks here, as well as you look at these 2 arrows on the 4 hour. One here, make this so you can see it a little better. You have this and you have this, okay? And then slightly above it. So there's a couple different areas where this thing can turn and flip back to the downside. It's just finding the correct area to take this short. And again, if this is the area, you're kind of seeing a little bit of issue in it right now, where it's starting to slow. Not a very big area whatsoever. Okay, this one only is about 5 pips, so rather small to the downside. And again, if you're looking to take this, even just as a retracement back down, you have a 3-to-1 risk to reward just back down to the low over here. But a nice potential target could actually be down here over at the 25, which would be about a 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio, or reward to risk. All right, so that's what we got going on there. Aussie, New Zealand. Okay, this one hasn't had the same kind of clean move, obviously, versus the yen it did. This one is still floating around inside of the same area. Like I said, it spent a lot of time here. I mean, it's boom, 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 boom. Drop below, above, drop back down below, and again, came back up again. So really, this one is just really kind of stuck in this kind of I mean, I would say it's like a magnet at this point. It just keeps pulling it right back in again. So really, until we get up to this 104.67, not necessarily interested in touching this one. I just don't see enough in this one to really kind of take the risk. Looking at Aussie dollar. Okay, Aussie dollar has pushed up, right? It's inside of this zone. It's pulled back a little bit, and now we're kind of in that like failure to go higher. It is up on the upper side of the range, so it's kind of one of those ones. It's like, yeah, we could definitely be going short here. And again, this was the not the top. It was kind of the first kind of step down. You actually can't see it. Hush, hush. You actually can't see it on the daily. You can only see it on the 4 hour. So we'll see. Again, the one thing that I've been kind of hesitant to in selling up here or looking for some type of a sell is this area of basing. It's a very clear, it's a very clear rally. It's a very, very clear base. I mean, you can't, I mean, this sideways, you really can't define it anymore as this is a base. I mean, it's literally flat. Up, completely sideways, and then a pop. So you knew coming back into this area, we're going to have problems. So any type of a short off of this may have been a little bit riskier. And that's kind of a problem. Now, again, looking at it over the last 24 hours, again, nice movement up. If we do not get any higher, there could be potential shorts that we have coming back in this range to take this all the way back down to 68 flat, which would be down in this area. Okay, so kind of the same situation. We're kind of waiting for it to fall. Again, Aussie yen is in the same situation. It's high. It looks like it wants to fall, and it's actually turning red right now. Again, Aussie, New Zealand, not a whole lot in here. Again, we're still high, waiting for some type of a signal to go short. Aussie dollar, same thing. High at the very top, kind of a flat body right now, also looking to go short. So 3 different Aussie pairs looking to go short. Pulling the scanner across as well. What do you guys want? Why are you so loud today? Looking at the Aussie basket, you can see they're all basically the same. Sideways, up, and confirmed. Okay, meaning that they are all starting to pull back. They've all broken through trend on the top side. Again, big day today. Not necessarily surprised we're going to get that. And everything across the board is showing that there is a bit of a pullback on these. Again, it's pulling back. Um, but because we're in this area, I think we're going to actually turn and flip these things. So the other day, it's funny. Yesterday or 2 days ago, we had no checks. This is, you can see across the board. Aussie strength, pullback, and now it's pushing through the top side. So the second we see any type of a red candle, we have an uptrend setup. But if this continues to drop to the downside, again, if we do not go much past it, we can start seeing a flip here. Okay, this is the first start of the actual flip candles or the flip cycle. Okay, so kind of even across the board there, right? Let's look at pound Aussie. Now, pound Aussie, I would be extremely careful with tomorrow. Interesting enough, here was that zone that we talked about before, right? We hit it, kind of came over, and ended up breaking out the top. It dropped through that old area and then pulled up and then pushed all the way through again. Okay, so we did mention this the other night about how, listen, sometimes things go past, but you got to know when to get back in again. This is what's called a previously violated zone. Okay, we've talked about this before. We still hold this on here, right? It was good. It went up. It never pulled back, right, for a momentum breakout. But it did give us this topping. It did drop down, and what did it do? It came back up to grab orders inside of this zone. Okay, so we may have gotten stopped for 30, although we really didn't get a great entry into it. But on the flip side, what happened? It broke through. You took the same level of risk, and this one ended up going down 99. So you lost 30. You ended up making 99 on this one. You came out at the end of the day with a total of 60 pips on it. So it didn't turn out to be too bad, and that's why it's important to keep your zones on there. Now, would I get into it at the same area again? No, it's really good for kind of one shot and then you're done. At this point, you'd have to kind of establish new signals, and we are beyond and kind of past that right now. Okay, but again, if it breaks, the first thing you should be looking for is whether a momentum breakout. And if you don't see the momentum breakout, which we did not have in this one, look for the come back down and end up getting taken out, which it did, right? It did the momentum breakout to the downside, but again, it's a previously violated zone that went lower. Okay. Because of the ATR on this one, though, I would be extremely, extremely careful tomorrow, right? The ATR on this one, again, it's low right now, and it's at 122. Okay, back here when Brexit last time was pretty hot, we were at 191 pips. So this thing can absolutely, without a doubt, go crazy tomorrow, even with just some news about this person, that person, or they don't like this, or they don't like this. I guess one of the things I was reading today that Colburn's kind of election campaign has had some problems and it's been stifled for popularity because of some corruption accusations. The best day to bring out those accusations is on the day of the election, right? I mean, that's what we saw before, right? 2 days before, whatever it was with Hillary. Yeah, guess what? I'm sure that that playbook is definitely been saved by everybody. So if that comes out tomorrow, this thing could move, and this could easily move 200 pips tomorrow. So be very, very cautious if you guys are trading pound Aussie. Now, looking at euro pound. So euro pound may have a little bit of a bounce back, but literally back and forth tomorrow. You guys can see again this one. Here's where we are right now, the 21, and when we go back, the 21 was right here. Okay. So we talked about getting in this position. It did come down, right? Again, we talked about this zone right here would be the red, the green, and then the red. There was your confirmation entry. But we could use this top section if it pulled back, and it did. So if you missed that one, it did pull back. Again, failure to go higher. You were able to take a little bit smaller risk based off the base, and it went down and then ended up hitting. It actually stopped right here at the very, very bottom. Actually, this candle right here did touch the bottom, and it went its full 45 pips. So where we are kind of on the bottom side. You guys can see it turned off of this base, right? So again, you could have taken this one today and played this to the downside. It would have taken a lot longer. Again, you would have had to been around about 2 o'clock in the morning to be able to take it, or if you would use a set and forget, or you could have just taken it based off of where we were last night. Again, that red, green, red to the downside, and again, you still would have done well with it. Because we had this lower high here, and again, it was at a level of basing, so not necessarily surprised it stopped there. I'm interested to see if it's going to make a push to the downside or if it's just going to go sideways. This is one pair tomorrow that has the potential to have some movement, obviously, with the European main refinancing rate and the monetary policy statement. It's not expected to change. I highly doubt they're going to raise rates. I would be extremely surprised, but you never know what they're going to say. Again, they may say something to in regards to Brexit that may give them some movement. But this one is one of those pairs that it may pause for a day. I don't know if we're going to get the large movement, particularly because we are right down here near this demand zone. Again, last time we saw it, we didn't even get as close. We've kind of made 2 attempts down, and both times it's been turned away before we even got to the zone. So I'm wondering if what will happen is I'm wondering if, so this is the scenario that I'm going to play out right now. I'm wondering if we will start to slowly grind back down again. And this time tomorrow night, we're sitting kind of down in this range, just above the demand zone. Then when the data starts trickling in of basically of a hung parliament, price may or may not actually touch this purple and then shoot all the way back up again, back into the 85 range. I mean, I guess potentially it could go back to the 86, but that'd be a pretty big move. That would be bringing us back up into this range in one day. I don't know if we're gonna get 200 pips on that one by tomorrow, but I don't know. That's what I see happening. Is it basically coming down to here, being in a technical kind of buying area, and then obviously the hung parliament is bad for the pound, and again having that returns the strength back into the euro, having us pop back up, and again coming back up into the I don't know 8,500, 8,600, somewhere in that range. Like I said, 150 pips probably wouldn't be too hard to kind of bounce all the way back up to. Okay, euro yen. So euro yen will be tradable tomorrow, obviously with the rate statements. Again, this one had this little bit of a pit here. We pulled back down again, and then it got that nice little burst out of it today. So it did go, and again, we mentioned this before. We had this lower level, but then we had the bigger one right above, and that's the red area that we were in. And again, we went to the very, very peak of it. We haven't really burst out the top, but that's where we're sitting, right? I'm just looking for this one to kind of go to the downside. Again, there's one area here, but if you look to the left, you're in a wick area here. You got the wick here. You got this large one up here. So there's a lot of areas of sellers right above where we are. It's just literally finding kind of the right place for it to turn. This actually may be it. We'll see what it's able to do. I mean, it's been here twice. It's at the very, very top of this range. And again, it starts to push. I don't see any reason why it would continue to go higher at this point. And then you guys can see there's actually another zone sitting right above. If I continue the line across, you guys can see where it's at. You guys can see that's where we're sitting, right at that top one. So another situation, and again, this one also coincides with what we saw in the Aussie yen, right? Aussie yen was an area where we were sitting high in the curve, expecting it to kind of turn and flip to the downside. Well, that would basically be yen strength. This is in the same position that we are high on the curve and looking for yen strength to come back into the market. And if it does, not only will that pair start to fall, but this pair will do the same exact thing as they're both inside of the same supply zones to the top side. Okay, so again, kind of the same trade setup, just slightly different countries. And again, slightly different situations, but again, they're both hinging upon the yen and whether the yen's weakness or the yen's strength, which also ties back to the US. Right. All right. Let's see. Looking across at the euro dollar. So euro dollar had a good day. Okay, it definitely pushed up, and again, all this came in at 230 for FOMC. Again, this is the dollar weakness. People were not necessarily happy. A lot of people were hoping for some type of a rate raise, and again, higher rates, stronger dollar, good. Well, it pushed back up. Now, here's where I have that dotted line. That red dotted line is showing us where the last time we peaked over here at the what 111.50 to 111.75, about that 25 pip area. We did burst up, and we haven't quite done much with it, right? We did push a little bit higher, and then kind of went to the side, kind of established a little bit of a demand area, right? And then we started to push over, but it really hasn't been too impressive since that time. And again, end of the day, I get it, all those kinds of things, because a little bit difficult of a situation. But again, approaching a daily area of supply is one of those big things that you got to look for and say, hey, listen, should we really be getting short this position? And really, where can it go? If they talk tomorrow about easing and, inflation being low and no kind of nothing for raising rates. And again, I don't see how there could be any strength, especially with Brexit going on, because again, that could mess up some trade deals for them, as well as again, I believe Trump will start a trade war with Europe, to the same extent of what we have now. I mean, once it's kind of like let's just keep getting like better deals and better deals and better deals, right? I mean, you know, like I said, the world economy needs us more than we need them, if that makes sense. Okay, and again, there's some countries over there that are not great, but I don't see them raising rates. That would make them less competitive, and I think where the global economy is right now, you don't want to be less competitive. So I don't see them bringing in any type of strength. If they did, I'd be really, really surprised. And that would drive this higher, but for the most part, I see this turning and flipping back down, at least into the 111 range and potentially even a little bit lower. Okay, even if we get a little dollar strength in here. Um, Dollar Aussie, we'll look at this, Euro Aussie, we didn't look at this yesterday, but we'll pull it now. So you can see, we came all the way up, and what did we hit? We hit that demand area that we had marked off a while ago, right? This top level that we kept hitting and bouncing off of, we did the same thing, and kind of, where we are now, again, this is basically just channeling. I mean, we talked about this before. Again, you have this bottom side channel here, you got the top side channel here. This is the one that Carl put that trade on, and I told him make sure he looks left, right? All right. I saw this or not. You guys were, he drew the zone off of this area here, and he's like, oh, this is the third hit, and somebody asked about it. Well, you actually got to go all the way back, and this is a very clean zone, right? Up, sideways up. I mean, had you had this area, I mean, it was good for multiple kind of pops to the top side. Okay, better deals, so Pelosi can take credit for it. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I have a friend. Um, she lives in Pennsylvania, and she just absolutely hates Nancy Pelosi. She posts stuff all the time on Instagram, and it's absolutely hysterical. I don't know where she finds it all, but it's just absolutely hysterical. Like I've never been a Pelosi fan ever. I always thought she was way too aggressive, and I thought it was uncalled for. And I just thought her aggressiveness just really just never sat with me well. But Evelyn always posts like the funniest stuff, and it just cracks me up. It's hysterical. So, but yeah, so in this one, for me, I'm actually waiting for this one for the downside. I'd like it to kind of break through this area and give us a clean break. I mean, again, we've touched through here, touched through here, touched through here, touched through here. I'd like it to kind of break below and then kind of come back up again. And again, there's various zones that we can use here. We could potentially use this level of basing right here, and you know, take this level right here of basing. Let me change this so it's not. Okay, so potentially use that level as basing as my risk level, and then if price comes down, if price pulls one of these things where it comes to here, then look for this and go down, right? A little Harry Potter trade. It's just an easier way to lower your risk on this one. Taking this basing level here, again, we could use the entire zone, but the entire zone is going to give you a risk of 22. By lowering it this way and focusing on this base here, kind of an old is new type situation, your risk in it now is only, it's about 18 or about 17 and a half. So you're able to shave some risk off of it. And actually, I guess we could probably shrink this down into there and use the red body, which would also lower this down to about 13. Okay, and again, 13 is more palpable to the downside. Again, your profit target will eventually be down into this area here into 161.08 from where we are now. Quite a large bit of movement, right? Breaking this zone. It's actually a little bit below, so I'll put it right there. And we're talking about a 50 pip runner, right? So risking 13 to make 50, not a bad little trade setup. Okay. Um, so is it okay for some of the wicks to go outside of the zone sometimes? It can be. Again, this pair being a hybrid pair, it's going to be wickier than if it was a major. Again, any of the pairs that are considered hybrids or cross pairs that are not one of the majors, they will always be wickier. Okay. And again, looking at the spread on this one, you're looking at about a 2.5 pip spread, right? So with 2.5 pip spreads, yeah, you're going to expect it to kind of go through more often. And you just got to be a bit cautious about that. Now, is there ways that you could have got into it? Sure. I mean, there's, once it came down to the area, knowing that it was like this, okay, remember, there's 3 different times you can enter a trade, right? Here, I'll do it with this one. Oh, it's like the bird moved on me. So there's 3 different ways you could enter the trade, okay? So you could enter here, okay? That would be number 1, okay? Number 2 would be in here somewhere, be kind of like in here, right? That would be number 2. And again, that's when you got your confirmation entry after it's entered the zone. Again, a green, red, green. And again, it's not the best green, but I'm just giving you an example of where it could happen. Or you could take here when it leaves the zone. And that could be your number 3. Okay. So you can, So you can do it when you enter the zone. You could do it when you have confirmation after it's hit the zone or somewhere in the middle of it. Or you could hit it as it exits on the other side. Okay. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. So 3 different times you could actually enter the trades. All right. So again, looking for this one to kind of break down a bit further. Okay. Now, it didn't turn off a great area. I actually would assume that it would have turned off of this, kind of the dotted lines. Again, you can see the single wick behind the wall on the 4-hour, and it turned there. Now it's kind of pushing down, and there's really not there's not a lot of kind of demand here until we get down to this level anyway. So we'll see what it's able to do, below that level. All right, so pound yen. All right, so whoa. Oh, the bird wanted to go for a little bit of a flight there. Okay. All right, so pound has pulled up into an area that we marked off last night. Again, last time the price was up here, it turned and pushed to the downside. Actually, I'm definitely into this pair right now. The reason why is because, again, being in this zone, this is a 4-hour zone. We've watched price flip here before. And it is kind of signaling pound weakness, which, with all the talk about the hung parliament, I'm actually kind of getting on board that I think that could be, I thought it was close before, and I don't think it's going to be the majority as much as they thought. I think there can definitely be some disappointment tomorrow. Okay, we are a little bit shy. This would be much better if this was this time tomorrow night. But again, it's a little bit early. There's potential that we can take off this one. So depending on when you want to enter this one, again, I would be taking this one to the short side. I'm not 100% sure we take this one currency. I mean, the risk is only about 20 pips. This is one of those things that if you can get up to, 1.5, into profit, I'd definitely move myself to break even. So you can't. What's wrong? Typically, you want to do at least the spread, but it also depends on. This is for Wealth Builder. It's typically whatever the spread is, in addition to that. But depending on the time frame you drew the zone, you may want to add a little bit more. The birds are here now. I'm like a pirate. Yeah. So it depends. Disappointment as far as. Yeah. Well, people want Brexit done. Both parties will get Brexit done, but one of them says it's going to be 60 days. The other one says it's going to be 6 months. So that would be pretty disappointing. Right now, the market, again, the first couple polls were saying that Johnson was going to be able to get all the obstructionist people out and be able to move Brexit through rather fast. So that's kind of what the market has kind of based a lot of the pound strength on. If that's not the case, it's kind of a weakness for the pound. Okay. So, but again, that's actually lining up on a technical basis. Target on this one would obviously be 42.64 back to the downside. You're looking at about a 100 pip runner in this one to the downside. Is 20 pips bad? No, not necessarily. You know, especially when you can get. Yeah, and you can take this one in Nadix as well. I haven't checked it yet tonight. Let's see, what do we got here? Let me see how. I'm sure that they have this one just jacked. Let me see what. Um, yeah, yeah, they're pretty jacked up. Like even the 143.20s, which are obviously, you know, prices lower than the bid and the offer are both over 50. I expected that one to be lower. And the 143.40s are 48 and 55. 60s are 45 and 52. So not too much difference there. Um, before you get anything that's even remotely, and I'm just looking at 7 p.m.s tomorrow when we start having some news tick in. Even the lowest one, the 141.20, which is 230 pips, is only at 77 for the bid. So yeah, that's $22 risk, and you're talking about 200 pips to the downside. So you're talking 10 strike prices on the bottom one. So yeah, they got that one kind of all funky. I don't, it's just going to be one of those things that I don't know if you're going to be able to play that one on Nadex just because they know it's big, and I don't think any market maker wants to play with that one. Oh, I'm sure the weeklies are even jacked. Let me see what the weeklies are. Yeah, yeah, 141.25s, 68 for the 141.75s. Yeah, I just don't think that it's just way too much in there. Even the 3 p.m.s tomorrow. Let me see. Yeah, you know it's jacked up. The indicative value right now is 143.56, right? And if you look at the spreads for 3 p.m. tomorrow, which there's not really anything happening from now till 3 p.m. tomorrow for the pound, we're not going to hear any news. There's not going to be any exit polls. There's not going to be really anything, right? Even that one right now, the fact that we are basically 30 pips above where the ceiling is, you can get it for 19 pips worth of risk, or 19 max dollars. So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, if you're expecting a 200 pip move, then sure, you know, it's not horrible, it's not bad, right? But yeah, it's putting you down at, you know, the bid and the offer at 143.11 and 143.13, and the price is currently at 143.57. So you can see how much, yeah, they got it jacked. And there's not even anything happened from tonight till when this expires tomorrow. No, it's definitely, I don't think it is. I mean, there's just no way. So, yeah, so I mean, but again, with that being said, I mean, this one is averaging. I mean, today, what did we do on this one? We did 75 pips, 80 pips. So again, it did about just a little bit less than what its ATR is. It may be a bit more volatile tomorrow, but I mean, again, if you're willing to take this risk to the downside, it's not a horrible trade. Um, as I said, I mean, you're looking at what, about 19 pips risk right there, right? So I mean, you need at least 60, which again puts us right down into this area right here, right? Right there. Right? And again, it's not a bad spot. I mean, it'd be more ideal if it was here, but again, that's not too bad to the downside on that one, right? For a trade setup. Now, it is high. Like I said, all this has been like, hey, listen, Johnson's going to win. We're going to get Brexit done. But right now, it's looking like there's a less and less of a chance of him getting it done. So that's what could turn and have this flip all the way back to the downside. Now, pound dollar. Let's see. Pound dollar, I was interested in seeing because again, the touch brackets aren't supposed to be as sensitive, and we can use this one. Let's see. So the pound dollar, again, this one has pushed through the top side, and I didn't think it would really hold. Again, you guys can see this basing level, right? Hit here, came back up, dropped all the way back down again, right? And now we pushed all the way back again, right? So we talk about these two different places. You guys can see. I mean, here's where we are right now at 21. Go back, and 21 was right here, right? We just bounced off this area. Now you did get another attempt right here, and that's what rallied us up. But again, we drew this last night expecting that we were going to have a bounce back and forth. So with price currently right now, I'm looking at this one for Nate. Let's see how jacked up this one is at 132.24. All right, so this is kind of interesting. Ow, ow, ow. No, no, no. Bird decided it wanted to jump off. Look at this one. So this touch bracket, price right now is 132.23, right? Okay. This one right now is 132.35. So it's only, it basically gives you about a what? 12 pip buffer, right? For this to turn and kind of flip right now, right? Which gives us, based off of this, that would give us 12 pips from where we are right now. So let's draw a little 12 pip zone. See what's above where we are currently. That puts us basically right here above the high, right? So if we're able to stay under where the high is, right? If this is kind of the flip to the downside, look at the risk on this one. $16. And again, if it goes up, we automatically get stopped out. Worst case scenario, you lose 16. And it gives you about a 12 pip risk on that one. Buyers, obviously, you know. So that one's not horrible. Pip risk. Question is whether or not we can hold that overnight. Doesn't look bad right now. About 15 minutes at this green. About the best thing we have looking for. See how jacked these things are. None of these really matter because I don't see it moving too. 132.22, 132.20. Not as bad. This one's only requiring a 60 pip drop price on this one, which again, 60 pips is not bad. If you guys are looking at Forex Factory, lately this one has actually moved more than this one. Again, 60 pips, it moved 90 today. That's actually not bad. So it looks like the pound yen is jacked up as far as rates go. It doesn't look like the pound dollar is too kind of funky right now. So don't know. I don't know what their market makers are doing, but I'm sure they're, you know, as I said, lately the pound dollar has actually moved more than the pound yen. So I guess they're a little bit behind the curve. But that's kind of the, you know, like I said, I think that what do we got on a lower time frame now? Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? Yeah, we start kind of pushing this to the downside. May not be a bad little trade. Okay. All right, let's jump into the next one. Like I said, not too much there. I just think that one's going to be a bit risky to play right now. New Zealand dollar. What do you guys want? Here, go back in the cage. Go ahead. All right, so this one did push back up. Okay. This is that area we had marked off up top, right? This is based off of this level. I guess actually this was probably 4-hour one. 4-hour one. That's the area that we actually just reached 4-hour. I know this was drawn off this wick. It was drawn off the daily, but let's see. Got us in. I don't know about this one. Biggest problem I have with this one lately is it's just the ATR is very small. We're only looking at 40 pips a day. Again, today was a big day up. I do see this one retracing back to the downside, but let's see. The downside retrace is only, actually that's about 70 pips, so that's actually not a horrible kind of position to the downside. What was the actual risk in it? Let's see. About 14. So for a standard day, it's not, again, nice risk to reward ratio. Um, up to that area. Let's see. Actually, that's not a bad trade because last time price pushed down here, it found orders here, and that's at 39, which is over 3 to 1, or right at 3 to 1 basically, because it's like 14, 13 and a half to 14. So that's actually not a bad little. I guess that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So that's another potential. So that's not a bad one. And again, yes, we are rallying higher. I got it. It's sideways up confirmed. We're good. But again, we're running into areas of supply. And again, this is a wick over wick, and it's been respected right here. We've seen that the last time it came up here, it was turned and flipped back to the downside. So that's why I'm kind of paying special attention on that one. And there's actually another one right above it too. So not an index-based pair, so this is a spot currency only. But after today's news, I can see the U.S. market again. The other reason why too I can see this turning and flipping down is if this turns and flips, this would be dollar strength. If the European news tomorrow talks about anything weakening or anything like that, anything that gives the U.S. kind of some strength, or gives the European Union weakness, obviously will give the dollar some strength, and vice versa. So what? What are you doing? Oh, you want to jump on my arm, but you don't want me to pet you? Okay. And the other one wants up on the keyboard. So I got birds everywhere today. Dollar Swiss. So dollar Swiss had a nice little setup. Again, we talked about this before when we had those zones that are broken. We matched this one off top and bottom. Remember how we had the break here above and then retest higher? We mentioned when we went back up, again, we were looking to short this, and again, we hit it almost to the T. It actually hit here. We missed it by 2 bars. It came back down. It based at the bottom level, again, this area. Again, we marked it off, right? We marked it off yesterday because we had this single wick against the wall with a green candle. And I said if we price got back up, I would be interested in selling that again. Okay, here's where we are right now, 19. And there's the 19 candle right here. Okay, this one did. It came right back up again, and it had a nice little drop away. Okay, we couldn't shrink this one anymore based off of the green candle. So again, this is another one. Had you taken this from chart school last night, it had about 14 pip risk, and at the low, you had about 45 over there. Okay, so again, had above your 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Even if you had taken this just down into here, basically right in there is where you would have definitely gotten out. And again, there's 3 to 1. Okay. I think what we do now. Looking at this right now over here on the daily. But I would take this as the breakout of that area. I think was the best. This is a pretty came down and tested it. It's only been hit one time. Already starting to have some issues, and it's only started to hit the top of that zone. You guys can line right across. We ran into. So I think we may have some problems with that one. We made 2 attempts and gotten turned away both sides. So it looks like it wants to grind through it. But again, tomorrow with dollar strength coming back into the markets, again, that would also lead this to kind of head back to the top side. So kind of coincides with what, kind of the theme we've been talking about right now. This kind of turning and flipping and potentially going back up again. But again, that was your trade here from last night. And again, that was the chart school line. This was a chart school area that we had talked about. Okay. I keep making it bigger, but it's not that big actually. It's that big, 13. Okay. All right, looking at dollar CAD. So I believe a couple of you were in dollar CAD today. I think Carl, you had a position on, but then you took it off before the FOMC came out. Right. So here's the area that we marked off last night. Right. I mean, here's where we are right now at 21, and when we go back, 21 is right in this area. Okay. No, no, no. right here. Okay. Again, here's the start of that move. Here's that last drop that we had last Wednesday, right? That big collapse to the downside. It came up and it rode. And again, as we mentioned, this was a very, very long basing level. This would take a whole lot of time. But again, what did it do? It went all the way back down. It retraced the parabolic retracement move. One huge extended ridge candle went right up into a zone, came across. It took a long time though. That's the only problem. But you weren't really in any risk. Again, you only took very, very little heat in this trade ever. Again, you would remain positive for the most part down here about what? About 20 pips down. You were basically at 20 pips profit for multiple days. And again, you may have taken over the weekend, you may have not. You could have got into it obviously this week. Again, here's your Friday time. When it did nothing, you could have re-entered again on Monday as it went down and dropped, and you just held it. Held it. Stop loss would have been a break even, so you had no risk in it, and it continued to, and actually ended up going past its full profit target. Okay. So again, 2 points for parabolic retracements on this one. Where we are now, I want to see how much lower we can actually go. It's already bounced one time at this point. Oh, hold on, the bird is stomping on the spacebar. Come on, come on. They're all excited because they're out tonight. So we are definitely deep into this range here, right? We're at the very, very bottom of it. You can see the wick. We're at the very, very bottom here. We know there's definitely some buyers. There's people that stopped it before. If you look to the left, you can see that we had this level of basing where we had this nice push up, a little bit of a pullback. And again, it's the impulse correction. And that's where we're stuck now. And then the impulse and the move up. So we're kind of sitting in a buying area right now. And again, just like all those other things, if we have a retracement from the weakness today and anything tomorrow that is, anybody else talking about how they're getting weak, again, the CAD is talking to tomorrow. The CAD talks about any type of trade war or, issues with the United States. That's going to drive their weakness a lot more than it's going to drive us, right? Because we have other people we can trade with. They don't trade with as many other people. So again, that also would be in the same kind of theme that we've been talking about, the dollar kind of popping back up again. And again, it will probably most likely retrace back up, at least up into this 132.30 range. It's about, what, 60, 70 pips from where we are right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if it starts making some attempts up into the 132.50, right? And again, that's if that's if the CAD news is bad tomorrow, and they start talking about weakness, trade war, slowing, any of those things, okay? Those are all good news for, obviously, this pair going back to the top side, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see something like, obviously in multiple stages, but something like this tomorrow, okay, over in here, all right? Looking across the dollar yen. No, you're not going to pull the keys off the keyboard. Come on. Like all bird radio tonight. All right, so again, this one came back up. Okay, I think we marked this one off last night. Was this last night? 21. Yeah, it was last night. Yeah, so we talked about this before. Again, here's your pop, drop to the downside, went all the way back up again. Again, rally, base sideways, and then drop again. Okay, and we saw it come back up. It tagged it over here last night right before chart school. And what did it do? It went all the way back down, and here's your profit target to the downside. So I don't know if anybody took this one. Again, this was about 33 pips to the downside with about 30 pips risk to the top side. Again, still moving sideways. It's really not doing anything here. Again, we were basically relying upon this level of basing here when it popped up to kind of come across. And again, FOMC being a driving factor or CPI being a driving factor, and it just continued to push to the downside and went back to the profit. So it is sitting in a demand zone. At this point, I would say, based off the 4 hour and 30 minute, I probably am more bullish at this point. 30. Maybe. It depends when it got there and what was coming next. I guess it's not a horrible zone, actually. 1, 2. Not a horrible spot. I may take something small on that one. If we can get this one to rally back up into that area, I may be looking at, depending on the time and see how much, see what time of day it is. If it's still kind of, say, morning time hours, I may be willing to take a 2-hour binary on that to the downside. Don't know if I'll take it spot currency again tomorrow because, like I said, I think with any type of news tomorrow, Brexit news, I think I think you will start to see a lot of dollar strength. So I don't necessarily want to step in front of this with a lot of risk to the top side for something kind of funky. Um, probably an 8x like 2-hour binary depending on when it hits. Second test wasn't exciting. No, it wasn't exciting, but again, it's off this first little level here. So there's actually 2 levels inside of this zone here. Because again, you can see the price was all the way up, and then price came. Actually, you know what? Let's see if we can just. I'll just show. Yeah, there you go. See, there's actually kind of 2 zones in here. There's the one up here on the top, and then there's one a little bit lower. This initial kind of push here, right? Then you have this push here. There's actually 2 zones in there. And if I extend, here, I'll put this black line and I'll box this one off. This one, there's that push. See it in this one? Right to the 30 just so we can stay consistent with it. Oh, you know what? I did on the lower time frame, so it's not going to work. Anyway, you can see this lower one right here. All right. So it may not look impressive when you take the entire zone, but it did go through about 90% of the bottom of the 2 zones. So it was more impressive than it actually looked. It was it's a little tricky one. But again, the only reason I knew that was based off of this area here, because we had this, and then we had the green pull up, and then we had the big push to the downside. So it's kind of a zone, it's kind of a level on top of a level in there. You should be taking the farther one, but again, you could, if you dial this down, you can make it so small that it's just impossible. You get down to 1 minute and be like, oh, there's like 6 zones in here. Yeah, you could. But again, you just got to be a bit cautious with it. All right. So again, if we do get back up, I'd be looking to take this one. Again, like I said, most likely with some type of a Nadex pair. And again, if you guys don't have Nadex accounts, Lindo, I don't know if you have one yet. Just click on the lower piece of Twitch here. It just says, Nadex demo. Click on that link and get a demo set up. Click on the link though. That's the easiest place to do it. That's probably all I got for that one. Let's look at CAD yen real quick. See what we got going over here. Don't try it all. You guys, you should try it. Especially if you want to start trading some moves. Linux is super easy. It hurts from it. James has a cure for that. Okay, 1 or 2 mason jars, and you won't have a problem. All right, so on this one again, we've rallied kind of all the way back up again, right? We've seen this CAD strength. Now, this coincides with what we saw for a lot of other things, right? The dollar CAD was kind of pushing down into a level. Now the CAD yen is pushing up into a level. Okay, we're back at the same area now. This level was broken, right? It did kind of get pushed through the top side just by a little tiny bit in kind of a the group there. But again, this is also roughly drawn off of that zone. Okay, this one kind of came up. Now we could redraw it and we could readjust it for this area. And again, this large wick is kind of a pain, so I'd probably just. You got about 15 pips worth of with there. Let me. Yeah, so if I'm going to adjust my 15 pips, I'm going to adjust it to there. Kind of like a little bit funkier. Like, how the heck would you pick that? Because that encompasses the top as well as the single wick against the wall, and price is kind of, price is pushed up to it once already. So I'd be looking as this as kind of my selling area. And again, we're not quite there yet, but we're getting pretty close to it. So again, if you know how to set an alert, I would be setting an alert for something in this area here. That zone starts for me at 82.60. So, 5 pips before that, 82.55. Set an alert for yourself. Price level and 5, and set that alert. Okay. So price comes up to there. We know that it's getting super, super close to that level. And again, that would be willing to take a short. It's got about 10 pips risk on this one. So we need to make sure that we have at least 30 in the opposite direction, which again, 30 puts us here. Right? So not that far really, right? Not that far. Okay. Again, I think this one could probably come even down into the. Yeah, you could do that. Just need to pay attention to how much the pair has already moved in comparison to the time to expiration. My brain is backwards. Well, you can always try it in demo. It never hurts you to try it in demo. Trust me. Like I said, use the link below. That way it tracks you back to us so they know. Not that you get a discount or anything, but at least it tracks you back to the company. All right, so that's what we got here. That's basically it, guys. Let me run through the scanner real quick one more time, see if we have anything for overnights. Actually, you know what I'm going to do real quick since you guys can see this one? Let's give you the overnight out. If you guys want to use these for overnights, you're more than welcome to. All right, so right now it looks like when you're looking on the 3-hour, EuroCAD is in a downtrend setup, although it is conflicting with uptrend setups right now in the lower time frames. Again, you'd be focusing on 3-hour and 30-minute to see if there's anything tonight that you could potentially take. Dollar Swish, we already kind of looked at that one. Saw where we were. Dollar CAD is obviously in an anchor break to the downside. It's going lower. It's going into an area of demand, so we already know what's going on there. New Zealand dollar, we know what's going on that one. It's pushing up. It needs to go a little bit farther, and then it is also inside of a supply zone, so we can take that. New Zealand Swiss, we didn't look at. You guys can do that one. Pound CAD, Pound New Zealand. Again, both of those are downtrend setup. It is pulling back. Those are interesting because, well, I guess it's not that interesting, but again, we're seeing a pullback. We're seeing a little bit of pound strength coming back in those two, so probably won't be too bad. Only thing I worry about on those two is, again, you're seeing basically I can see these two. I can see these two being turned into anchor breaks to the top side. The reason why is again the CAD weakness. CAD is starting to kind of, you're seeing it here. It's got a bunch of strength today, but with that talk tomorrow, I really think we're going to see some weakness on the CAD. So um, yeah, ever use a scanner on 5-minute binaries? No, I don't go that low with it. I have totally separate things that I focus on 5 minutes. I only use this scanner. I use just for trends during the day. But again, for tonight, if you guys are looking for trade setups tonight, that's why I switched this over across to the 3-hour, 30-minute, and 5-minute, as far as things that you could potentially take right now. Okay. Again, you're seeing a lot of these 30-minute uptrend setups right now. Be a bit more cautious with those because again, it's all uptrend setup means it's pulling back, it's consolidating, and you can see on the 3-hour, all of them are actually in consolidation mode right now. All right. All right, guys. So that's it. So let's see. Where are we with Stream Elements right now? Looks like only 5 of you purchased tickets. So who are we missing over here? I see Vanessa. I don't see Lindo. I see Ryan. I see Josh. I see Will. Is there no James tonight? I knew it was quiet in here. Where is James? James doing some volunteering or something tonight? Ernest is like, close it, close it. I think that might be everybody. I don't know. It says we have 13 on, so I'm not sure. We have some people that haven't got in there yet. Silent Hound Dog, he comes in at the very end. He got one. So if he wins tonight, Ernest, you you can be mad at me. I think that's everybody. Wealth Builder, are you in there yet? No, Wealth Builder will literally hold it till the very end as well. No. Now I'm getting bit. Come here. Come. Wealth Builder's in now. All right, so Wealth Builder's in. Ryan's in. All right, I'm gonna close it. Thank God, everybody. All right, here we go. Let's do this. There goes Wealth Builder. And the winner is Ernest. Ernest had an 11.11% chance tonight. He was like, close it, close it, close it. So yeah. Actually, I gotta see this. It's actually been a while since Ernest has won one. I think wow. 11.11% on the 11th. Wow. Hold on, I gotta screenshot that. Ow, 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 bird. Get that. Hold on. I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna put that in Discord. That's so good, right? All right, now I can't find the thing again. Lost the window. All right, so, um, yeah, it's been 2 weeks, and it's a full half moon. Yeah, right. Does this put him back above? No, it doesn't. Will's still owning him. I feel like Will went on a run though. Went on a run, getting a little closer. All right, guys. So with that being said, we'll touch base tomorrow night. I think tomorrow night we'll have a little bit more kind of an idea of what's going on with the whole Brexit situation and the election. Told you it wasn't fixed. I don't know. Maybe you put the you disabled the hack for the week. Maybe that's what it was. I don't think I've had consecutive like Ernest. Um, no, well you didn't, but I think you had two in 1 week, like a week or 2 weeks ago. Ernest hasn't had. I don't think Ernest has had two in a row consecutive to since September. There was a week where there was like that 1 month where like two or three people had consecutives. It's kind of crazy. So, all right, guys, he'll hit tomorrow night now too. We'll see. Not go too crazy. All right, guys. I'll see you in the morning if you guys are around. Thursday mornings is definitely one of my trading mornings of the week. So we'll see where some of these hit. Again, some of the risk to reward ratios look pretty good tonight. I'm going to analyze them again to see which ones I'm going to put on tonight. And I may actually set this one. I may do a set and forget on this one. I just let it. All right. Take care, guys, and I'll catch you tomorrow.